wafting through the most romantic city on earth, a vision in papal white, lending her regal presence to France's famous Fashion Week. Her first time at the shallow shows where thin models and thick men wear stupidly expensive clothes.
Sources close to Harry and Meghan have revealed they were shocked by Meghan's solo Paris trip last week, saying her latest relaunch left them deeply concerned about her marriage to Prince Harry. What more can you tell me?
Meghan Markle in Paris. Rather more desperate than Emily in Paris and nowhere near as entertaining. It came out of the blue, utterly unexpected. Suddenly, the difficult Duchess was wafting through the most romantic city on earth.
This is Meghan Markle's sickest stunt yet.
I mean, other than looking like a toilet roll, Meghan Markle is contributing absolutely nothing. This woman is really not oppressed. She's opportunistic.
Maybe Harry's no use to Meghan anymore. Maybe the divorce rumors are actually true.
Harry just can't give her anything else anymore. He served his purpose. His purpose is over. So for her, it's time to move on.
It all started like a secret whispered in the Paris wind. A graceful figure glided through the revolving doors of the Hotel Plaza Athénée, draped in Dior's sharp winter tailoring under the soft glow of a December sunset. The date, December 20th, 2025. The occasion, Dior's ultra-exclusive Winter 2025 Confidential Showcase, a fashion event so private that only global icons, royal elites, and billion-dollar brand ambassadors made the cut. But then chaos hit the internet. Blurry photos began flooding TikTok and Twitter, snapped by trembling influencer hands and rain-smeared lenses. The rumor exploded overnight. Princess Catherine is in Paris, except she wasn't. While social media went wild, spinning wild royal theories, the real Princess Catherine was hundreds of miles away in Birmingham, England, hosting a quiet holiday event for underprivileged families at a local community center. Verified local reports, press photos, and even a police security logbook later proved her exact location beyond question. So who on earth was the mysterious woman sitting front row at Dior, dressed like royalty and moving like she belonged there? Why did she use a restricted royal access code to secure a presidential suite and backstage clearance? Even more shocking, the Dior digital guest list showed the name Catherine Elizabeth Windsor. What began as a harmless mix-up online had suddenly spiraled into one of the most alarming breaches of royal identity in years. The internet had stumbled into something far deeper than a fashion scandal. According to confidential files obtained by investigators, this incident might have been the final crack in the palace's already tense relationship with Meghan Markle. Sources deep inside Dior's event team, speaking strictly off the record, confirmed that the mystery guest rolled up in a sleek black SUV, flanked by 2 private security guards and a woman listed as a publicist under the name M. Avila. Her face stayed hidden behind oversized sunglasses and a low-brimmed hat, dripping in that "don't look at me" celebrity energy. But once she stepped into the marble-lit reception area and took them off, the room froze. One backstage coordinator confessed she looked like Catherine, at least at a glance. Elegant, calm, that same royal poise, but something just didn't sit right. Too much contouring, too much posing, and the way she faced the cameras? It screamed rehearsed glamour, rather than the princess's signature grace. Within hours, chaos spread online like wildfire. Influencers gushed that Catherine snuck off for a solo Paris fashion escape, while fashion bloggers called it a silent rebrand move. Pure genius. One blurry shot from behind, long brunette hair, white Dior coat perfectly fitted, was enough to set British media on fire. The Kensington Palace Communications Office was instantly buried under press calls. Is the Princess of Wales in Paris? Is this part of a new image strategy? Why the royal silence? The palace didn't issue a single comment, at least not yet. But behind those guarded gates, alarms were blaring. By the 12-hour mark of the viral storm, Buckingham Palace aides were already digging through digital trails, pulling every log from the Royal Protocol Archives (RPAA), a top security system that tracks all royal travel credentials. Something was seriously off, and the palace knew it. Confidential records reviewed by insiders revealed something explosive. A royal access code had been used illegally. According to classified excerpts, a Class B royal access code, one specifically assigned to Her Royal Highness, the Princess of Wales, was used to reserve a luxury suite at the Hotel Plaza Athénée in Paris. The same code, RPA 119CEW, was later flagged at Dior's security checkpoint, where staff cross-referenced it internally and confirmed it was supposed to belong to Princess Catherine herself. That meant one terrifying thing. Someone had either forged or hijacked a royal digital clearance to impersonate a member of the royal family at one of the most exclusive fashion events on Earth. While royal aides in London scrambled through security logs and lawyers quietly reached out to the French Ministry of Foreign Affairs, the tabloid world was already piecing together timelines, and what they found made jaws drop. On December 18, Meghan Markle was spotted boarding a private jet at Van Nuys Airport in California. The flight's destination wasn't publicly filed, but aviation trackers soon exposed that the same jet landed in Paris Le Bourget on December 19. Then, paparazzi stationed outside the Plaza Athénée caught a mystery woman stepping out of a black SUV in full Dior couture, flanked by stylists and bodyguards the very next day. To make things even wilder, Meghan's personal stylist posted and then quickly deleted a photo tagged inside Dior headquarters, captioned "Backstage Perfection for Our Lady in White Confidential Winter 25. By December 24th, a top French fashion journalist broke the silence with a cryptic tweet. The woman in Dior's front row was not Catherine. Paris knows the truth, and luxury insiders are furious. The internet had suspected drama, but this was turning into a full-blown royal identity scandal with global consequences. By December 23, the tension inside Buckingham Palace had reached its breaking point. The silence was no longer an option. According to royal insiders, Princess Anne personally urged King Charles III to launch an internal audit of all royal travel clearances and to finally address the storm of confusion gripping the public. Sources close to Prince William revealed he was furious beyond words, yet he reportedly told his team to stay calm until every fact was verified. Meanwhile, Princess Catherine continued her duties flawlessly, appearing in public with quiet composure and offering no comment. But behind palace walls, emotions ran deep. One aide allegedly confided to a BBC journalist that the princess is heartbroken, not because someone impersonated her, but because the world actually believed it might have been her. This wasn't just about a stolen seat in a fashion show, it was an orchestrated identity hijack, executed with chilling precision, wrapped in designer couture, and aimed straight at the very heart of the monarchy's most beloved figure of dignity and modern grace. But here's the twist, it was only the beginning. What started as a mysterious fashion mix-up was now morphing into a diplomatic disaster. After the palace quietly initiated its internal review on December 23rd, the truth began to leak faster than anyone expected thanks to the relentless power of the internet. By December 24, a now-deleted Reddit thread titled "I was on Meghan's Paris team, ask me anything" exploded across social media. The anonymous poster, claiming to be a former freelance PR assistant, dropped a bombshell. They described something called the Paris Project, a coordinated plan complete with rehearsed Dior entrances, luxury suite wardrobe fittings, and timed media cues. The palace was still trying to contain the fire, but the digital world was already burning with receipts. And here came the most damning detail of all: the deliberate misuse of royal styling codes. The anonymous Reddit whistleblower wrote, "I was hired short-term. My job was to create an aura of royalty. We practiced lighting angles to make her look like Catherine. We hired Kate Middleton's former makeup artists. The whole strategy was to spark confusion without saying a single word." Within hours, screenshots of the thread swept across X, formerly Twitter, TikTok, and every major royal gossip forum imaginable. The message was clear as day. This wasn't a coincidence. It was a carefully calculated PR stunt, designed to stir up royal intrigue and fuel hype for a secret luxury launch still under wraps. By the evening of December 25th, things took a brutal turn. Dior's legal team circulated an internal notice quietly banning Meghan Markle from all future Dior events, shows, and fittings. The decision, confirmed by 3 independent fashion editors and a leaked industry memo, sent shockwaves through luxury circles. On Boxing Day, Dior's top executives jumped on a confidential Zoom call with VIP coordinators and brand ambassadors to contain the damage. According to multiple insiders, Bernard Arnault, CEO of LVMH, was furious. Dior's elite image had been dragged straight into the center of a scandal being painted as a royal identity scam, a nightmare for a brand built on exclusivity and class. As one veteran fashion journalist put it, luxury survives on silence and control. What Meghan did, blurring the line between herself and a senior royal, wasn't bold, it was reckless. The stunt didn't just risk reputations, it sparked legal concerns and diplomatic ripples that fashion houses were desperate to distance themselves from. Even more shocking revelations surfaced after the credits rolled. The Dior access code RPA119CEW was officially traced back to a suspended royal associate, someone who had once worked as a digital liaison during Meghan and Harry's final year as senior royals. That discovery didn't just hint at mischief, it screamed premeditation and possible internal sabotage. Insiders whispered that someone close to the royal IT network had been compromised, raising fears of a deeper breach. And in a twist that felt almost poetic, December 26, Boxing Day, brought a moment no one saw coming. King Charles reportedly received a sealed red envelope from Princess Anne, containing a letter written years earlier by Queen Elizabeth II herself. According to those familiar with its contents, the late Queen had foreseen a day when unauthorized persons may falsely adopt royal identity for personal gain. She had even included a private directive that any individual guilty of such deception should face permanent expulsion from all royal titles, privileges, and duties. That letter, long kept in a private vault at Windsor, suddenly carried historic weight and serious consequences. By December 27th, a senior advisor at Kensington Palace was already drafting an official communication plan to manage the crisis. Meanwhile, Prince William, reportedly humiliated and deeply angered by the impersonation of his wife, demanded a complete audit of every remaining royal security credential still held by former members of the family. What started as a glitzy Paris fashion stunt had now triggered a royal reckoning, and the palace wasn't about to let it slide quietly. Princess Catherine stayed calm on the outside, but behind that royal composure, she was quietly shattered. A close family friend revealed she's not a woman driven by ego, but to see someone try to hijack her dignity for a publicity stunt, it hurt deeply. Those words captured what photos couldn't, a heartbreak wrapped in silence. Meanwhile, Meghan Markle kept the world guessing. No denial, no statement, no legal moves, nothing. Her reps ignored all media requests, and her official Archewell channels went completely dark from December 21 to December 29. But inside Hollywood's tight-knit PR world, whispers were already swirling like wildfire. One insider tied to a major streaming platform claimed that Meghan had been in advanced talks for a royalty-themed beauty campaign with a top-tier luxury brand. But after the Paris incident, the entire deal was suddenly put on ice due to what executives called ethical concerns. The same source summed it up sharply. She thought she could outmaneuver the monarchy, but instead she's been blacklisted from both sides. While Meghan's camp stayed in total silence, Buckingham Palace was quietly preparing to move with precision, not rage. On December 29, an emergency closed-door meeting was convened at Clarence House, led by Princess Anne herself. Sitting around that table were senior legal advisors from the Lord Chamberlain's office and two of King Charles's top aides. The topic on record? Unauthorized royal impersonation and its explosive implications for international diplomacy, royal hierarchy, and public confidence. Sources familiar with the talks said the mood was icy but focused, the monarchy was done playing defense. This was about to turn into an official royal counterstrike. Princess Anne called for a response that would rise above scandal and reflect the dignity of the crown. This wasn't about revenge, it was about restoration. That very afternoon, Prince William and Princess Catherine met behind closed doors with their communications team at Adelaide Cottage, just outside Windsor. The plan was simple yet powerful. Catherine would remain silent. Her presence, her poise, and her elegance would speak louder than any statement. From that moment on, every public appearance she made would be deliberate, meaningful, and unmistakably royal. Then came December 30. The Wales family stunned the public with a surprise appearance at St. Mary Magdalene Church near Sandringham, joined by Princess Charlotte and Prince George. The crowd was captivated. Catherine stepped out in a bespoke sapphire blue coat, designed by Sarah Burton for Alexander McQueen, a direct nod to the infamous Dior look worn by the Paris imposter, but elevated, regal, and radiating authenticity. Pinned just beneath her collar was Queen Elizabeth II's diamond thistle brooch, an heirloom reserved for moments of moral clarity and sovereign strength. It wasn't just jewelry, it was a message. The symbolism hit instantly. Catherine wasn't merely defending her name, she was reclaiming it. She stood as the monarchy's living rebuttal to imitation and illusion, a reminder that true royalty doesn't need to shout to be seen. Fashion editors across Europe caught on immediately. The Daily Telegraph declared, "The original returns." Meanwhile, French outlet Le Figaro published a headline that translated to, "Not Dior's woman." Catherine responds in her own language. Catherine's quiet grace had become the palace's loudest answer, and the world couldn't look away. There was no need for Dior, Catherine's silence said it all. But what the public didn't see was the power move happening behind palace doors. On December 28, an official statement had been carefully drafted, ready to drop at a moment's notice. It carried the full authority of the crown and was nothing short of a direct royal rebuke. The document described the Dior impersonation as a flagrant violation of ethical boundaries between former and active members of the royal family. It firmly reaffirmed one unshakable truth: only those with sovereign authority may represent the crown in matters of protocol, image, or ceremonial style. But just hours before it was set for release, King Charles intervened. His command was clear: do not speak to damage. Let their own actions reveal them. It was a masterclass in restraint, royal discipline at its finest. Princess Anne agreed but insisted on a backup plan. If Meghan Markle denied involvement or tried to shift blame toward the palace, the statement would be reissued within 24 hours, supported by receipts, official documents from the Royal Fashion Archive, proving that prior warnings had been sent to the Sussex household back in May 2023. As of January 1st, that sealed document remains locked away, but not forgotten. The palace is ready, waiting, and watching. And then came one quiet, heart-melting moment that cameras happened to capture outside St. Mary Magdalene Church. As the Wales family walked back to their car, Prince George, barely 11 years old, leaned over and whispered something to his mother. Observers later confirmed his words. "You looked just like her, Mum, but she looked like you." That sweet line went viral across social media under the hashtag #TheTrueQueen, a moment so pure and powerful it silenced every rumor in its wake. The moment went viral, and it galvanized the public like never before. Young royal supporters who had long grown tired of Meghan's curated spotlight moments now rallied fiercely behind Princess Catherine. This was no longer about a fashion stunt, it was about the very soul of the monarchy, and who truly carried it with grace and authenticity. By early January, quiet but deliberate moves began rippling through royal circles. Two senior family members took firm steps to distance themselves from the Sussexes. Duchess Sophie, long regarded as Catherine's trusted confidant, requested that Meghan's name be removed from an upcoming Commonwealth charity gala set for March. Meanwhile, Prince Edward formally declined a meeting request from a Netflix documentary team reportedly tied to Arcueil Productions. But the most powerful move came from Princess Anne herself. She ordered a full audit of all heraldic emblems, wardrobe insignias, and royal design motifs used during Meghan's tenure as a working royal to determine if any had been reproduced or repurposed without official approval in media or luxury branding. And this wasn't symbolic. It was a legal operation, fully backed by the Royal Trust. Palace sources confirmed this review was aimed at protecting royal heritage from being commercialized or manipulated for image games. If Meghan's Paris stunt was meant to reignite her spotlight, it backfired spectacularly. Catherine's silence became her strongest defense. Anne's precision turned into an impenetrable shield. William's restraint became a warning, and King Charles's resolve, though tested by illness, was sharper than ever. In a short but forceful internal directive to the Lord Chamberlain, King Charles declared, "All royal styling codes, including ceremonial color palettes, brooch insignias, and official wardrobe identifiers, shall be regarded as protected representations of sovereign identity. Unauthorized imitation constitutes a breach of royal ethics. No press release, no statement, just pure royal power, quiet, dignified, and absolute." Then, in the pale morning light of January 4th, 2026, as the Christmas garlands were being taken down across the Sandringham estate, a sleek car with tinted windows pulled up to Buckingham Palace's south entrance. Inside was Princess Anne, clutching a thin red leather file, the final chapter of a scandal that had shaken the royal image, now about to be sealed with unmistakable authority. That red leather file hadn't been seen since the spring of 2021, and its sudden reappearance sent ripples through the palace corridors. Internally labeled the Monarch's Archive Addendum 7C, the document contained detailed records on royal branding restrictions, wardrobe protocols, and private stylistic correspondence, including personal letters exchanged between Queen Elizabeth II and the Sussex household about proper visual conduct. Once considered an outdated relic, the file was now back in motion, and with it came Princess Anne's iron resolve. She knew exactly what this meant. The monarchy was preparing to defend its image, not through words but through official record and historical weight. Just 3 days earlier, Dior's legal department had reached out to Buckingham Palace through a secure encrypted channel, nervously inquiring whether Meghan Markle's Paris appearance in what they called an unauthorized quasi-royal ensemble had been approved by the palace in any capacity. The tone of Dior's message, insiders said, was almost desperate. They feared that the brand might be pulled into a legal and diplomatic storm. Within hours, the palace replied, short, firm, and crystal clear. No such approval was given. We consider the styling a misrepresentation of royal heritage. It is not our way. Those 12 words hit Dior like a thunderclap. It wasn't just a denial, it was a warning shot from the crown itself, signaling that an official rebuttal might be coming. Princess Anne understood the gravity perfectly. Meghan, she believed, was treading dangerously close to turning fashion into manipulation, using color, cut, and silhouette to blur memory and meaning. This wasn't elegance, it was narrative warfare. According to palace insiders, the red file contained at least 5 confidential memos addressed directly to Meghan Markle, written between March 2020 and June 2021. Each one reportedly outlined clear boundaries about royal image use and public representation. And now, those long-forgotten warnings were about to resurface in a way no one expected. Inside that red file sat the proof, letters, warnings, and royal directives that painted a timeline of quiet but escalating tension. Among them was a May 2020 letter written personally by Queen Elizabeth II, requesting that all distinctive ceremonial hues, wardrobe silhouettes, and accessories used by senior royals never be replicated in private projects or overseas appearances. Her words were graceful yet firm. an unmistakable reminder that royal identity was not a design to borrow. Then came a July 2020 internal legal memorandum, formally warning the Sussex household that any reproduction of royal styles, including brooches, sashes, or hats associated with sovereign events, may constitute a breach of ethical protocol. It was clear this was not fashion advice, this was a legal boundary. But the warnings didn't stop there. An August 2021 advisory from Princess Anne herself directly addressed Meghan's controversial appearance in New York, where she wore a green outfit eerily similar to the Queen's Balmoral ensemble from the Jubilee year. By that point, Meghan had been cautioned multiple times, and each notice grew more formal, more severe than the world ever realized. Then, on January 5th, during a closed-door meeting with the Privy Council's Ethics Committee, Princess Anne delivered one of the boldest statements of her entire career. Looking straight at the gathered officials, she declared, "The crown is not a costume, it is not for hire, and it will not be mimicked into merchandise." Those 12 words, delivered in her signature tone of steely conviction, reverberated through royal corridors, and by the next morning they were quoted verbatim in the Times of London. At that same meeting, King Charles authorized Princess Anne to take decisive action. She was instructed to issue a final royal protocol enforcement letter to the Sussex household's legal representatives in California. The message was clear and uncompromising. Cease all unauthorized styling that may be perceived as royal representation. Withdraw any commercial footage or imagery containing such misrepresentations. Acknowledge receipt within 72 hours or face a public clarification from the palace. At 18 GMT, January 5, the letter was dispatched under priority classification. It was the monarchy's official line in the sand, and everyone in the royal world knew it. According to multiple insider leaks, Meghan's legal team went into full panic mode the moment the royal enforcement letter hit their inbox. Within hours, Archewell PR started scrubbing promotional materials connected to her latest lifestyle brand launch. Collaborators suddenly fell silent. Freelance stylists and consultants, some still waiting on payments, began quietly feeding information to journalists. One source told the Daily Express, they thought the palace wouldn't respond, that Catherine would stay quiet, that Anne was too busy, they were wrong, and indeed they were. The fallout came fast. Dior abruptly removed Meghan's name from a planned winter campaign, offering no explanation, but none was needed. The message was crystal clear: the game had changed. By January 6, even Meghan's most loyal media supporters in Hollywood began to retreat. Tabloid headlines that once praised her bold individuality suddenly flipped. One celebrity magazine ran the headline, "Too far, royal lookalike sparks global uproar." The isolation had begun, and there would be no reversing it. Then, just as the story seemed to hit its peak, King Charles III delivered the final word. During a private reception at Highgrove that same day, he reportedly addressed a small group of Commonwealth ambassadors, his tone measured but unshakable. "We no longer lend the crown's dignity to those who abandon its discipline," he said. "That's not cruelty, that's stewardship." Within minutes, those words leaked, and by sunrise, they were printed across every major British newspaper. The nation didn't just hear the king's message, they felt it. The monarchy had responded not with rage or scandal, but with quiet authority and definition. Meanwhile, across the ocean in Montecito, the atmosphere had shifted. The silence from Meghan's side was no longer part of a PR strategy, it was pure damage control. And as the palace's final letter arrived at her California residence on the evening of January 5th, one truth had become impossible to deny. The crown had reclaimed control of the narrative, and it wasn't letting go. A chill deeper than the California coastal fog rolled over the Sussex estate, and this time, it wasn't just symbolic. What followed was official, strategic, and irreversible. On January 6, 2026, a discreet notice was filed with both the Crown Records Office and the Home Office's Royal Affairs Division. The subject line was blunt and final: deactivation of honorary titles and style privileges, Sussex line. The royal freeze had officially begun, and no PR spin, podcast deal, or streaming contract could undo it. Behind those polished palace doors, it was Princess Anne and Princess Catherine who led the charge, executing the most significant recalibration of royal boundaries in decades. Working alongside a specialized advisory board known as the Council on Institutional Integrity, they moved through a three-tiered operation designed to redefine the limits of royal identity in the modern age. Phase 1: Title Audit. Every recorded instance where the Duke and Duchess of Sussex titles had been used for promotion, sales, or advocacy since 2021 was reviewed. Special attention was given to any case that implied sovereign endorsement or royal affiliation for personal branding or profit. Phase 2: Visual Violation Index. A newly compiled digital dossier tracked all brand imagery, product campaigns, video clips, and social media posts in which Meghan or Harry appeared styled in a way that mimicked royal aesthetics. Think brooch placement, lighting cues, Windsor-style wardrobe silhouettes, even subtle nods to palace backdrops. Phase 3, the Ethical Legacy Clause. Originally drafted by Princess Anne in 2022, this clause empowered the monarchy to revoke or restrict access to royal styling privileges when public behavior or branding was found to erode institutional dignity. This wasn't vengeance, it was policy, a full reassertion of what royal identity truly represents. Then, at 10 a.m. London time on January 7th, the Palace Press Office released an official, legally vetted communiqué. The statement, crisp and deliberate, opened with these words. Following extensive review, His Majesty the King, in concert with the Council on Institutional Integrity, the rest of that statement would send shockwaves across 2 continents, marking the end of a royal era and the beginning of a new, tightly guarded monarchy that had learned how to fight back with precision, not spectacle. The official communiqué landed like thunder across the globe. It confirmed the cessation of all active styling rights, title references, and heritage claims connected to the Duke and Duchess of Sussex, and even extended to their immediate descendants. The statement read with regal precision, "This decision reflects the Crown's enduring commitment to clarity, dignity, and stewardship in the public sphere." In simpler terms, it meant Archie and Lilibet would no longer be recognized as Prince or Princess, and the titles Duke and Duchess of Sussex were to be retired from all formal and public use. The palace even instructed international media and protocol guides to update their official references accordingly. It was done permanently. The reaction was explosive. Within hours, Meghan Markle's team issued a carefully worded, emotionally charged counterstatement. Titles are not the measure of a woman's impact. Meghan, the Duchess of Sussex, will continue uplifting women globally through compassion, vision, and creativity. But something didn't add up. Just 30 minutes later, the phrase "the Duchess of Sussex" quietly vanished from the RQL website's masthead. Legal caution had clearly kicked in. The tone of defiance quickly gave way to silence. Meanwhile, the fallout spread fast. Netflix abruptly postponed a planned special centered on Meghan's lifestyle brand, and Dior discreetly reassigned a campaign slot that had once been rumored to feature her as the brand's global feminine voice. Suddenly, in both fashion and media circles, silence became safer than solidarity. One industry insider told Variety, "The palace didn't just take away the titles, they made association risky." The message had landed, loudly. And what about Prince Harry amid all this chaos? According to locals in Montecito, he was spotted that same afternoon, alone, wearing a baseball cap and dark sunglasses, quietly walking his dog along the hills above Butterfly Beach. No cameras, no entourage, no royal pretense, just a man watching everything he'd known slip further into history, while the palace across the sea sealed the final chapter of the Sussex story with royal precision. No royal convoy, no paparazzi, no entourage, just Prince Harry, walking alone beneath the California sky with the weary look of a man caught between 2 collapsing worlds. Back in London, the tone couldn't have been more different. During a private dinner with senior aides and Commonwealth envoys, Prince William spoke with icy resolve. His message was short but unforgettable. This isn't exile, it's structure. And structure is what protects the monarchy when sentiment fails. Those words weren't leaked. They were strategically released to the press as a controlled signal. The future king had drawn a boundary, and this time there would be no reversal. By midnight, January 7, the changes had gone global. Major databases and platforms from Google to Wikipedia updated their listings to reflect the seismic shift. Prince Archie Harrison Mountbatten Windsor, title, inactive. Princess Lilibet Diana Mountbatten Windsor, title, inactive. The Duke and Duchess of Sussex, styling, retired from public use. It was one of the fastest institutional digital resets in royal history. Even the royal family's official website added a note beneath their names: no longer hold active royal or representative privileges, not in the line of succession. And the Royal Lineage Archive, curated by Oxford historians since 1863, quietly added asterisks beside the Sussex entries, a permanent mark signaling their removal from the active royal narrative. The message couldn't have been clearer. They were no longer part of the story. Then came a moment that surprised even palace insiders. In what many described as a rare alignment, Queen Camilla was overheard praising Princess Catherine for the grace and restraint she showed throughout the public fallout. "She's handled it with unshakable dignity," Camilla reportedly told a confidante. Coming from a woman often rumored to have cool relations with Catherine, the remark spoke volumes. It wasn't just support, it was solidarity. As one insider quietly summed it up, "The crown's tired of drama. It's moving on together." And for the first time in years, the House of Windsor seemed united, not around scandal, but around control, clarity, and the quiet power of composure. And then came Catherine, the calm in the storm, the answer to the chaos. The monarchy, once reactive and defensive, had become strategic and united. The public felt it immediately. The tone had shifted, and the power had returned to the crown. The fallout from King Charles's formal revocation of the Sussex family's royal styling was swift, unrelenting, and isolating, especially for Meghan Markle. British front pages hailed the moment as the royal reset, splashing triumphant headlines across the tabloids. Meanwhile, American outlets quietly pivoted. What had once been a glamorous transatlantic brand built on half royalty, half rebellion was now viewed as little more than controversial noise. But behind palace gates, something more profound was unfolding. A new royal order was taking shape. In the days following the January 7 decision, Princess Catherine's popularity skyrocketed, and it wasn't because of glittering tiaras or red carpet moments, it was because of her silence, strength, and purpose. She didn't release a statement. She didn't sit for interviews. She simply showed up gracefully, purposefully, consistently. Her public schedule was packed with genuine engagements, visiting mental health clinics, comforting children in hospice care, and addressing a Women in Leadership forum at Kensington Hall. Standing tall in a navy-tailored suit without tiara, sash, or spectacle, she delivered just one powerful line. Legacy is not inherited, it's earned every day. The room erupted in applause. Cameras captured the moment, but what resonated wasn't the image, it was the message. For the first time since Princess Diana's passing, the monarchy had a modern icon by choice, not by tragedy. Across the ocean in California, however, things were unraveling fast. Inside Archewell, resignations began to roll in. 2 board members, a media strategist, and even a senior philanthropy lead reportedly stepped down quietly by January. The empire that once thrived on media spectacle was crumbling under silence. Meanwhile, back in London, Catherine's poise had become the crown's new weapon, quiet, steady, and unstoppable. The monarchy had evolved, and this time it was Catherine leading the future, not reacting to the past. By January 10, the fallout had crossed oceans and turned financial. Archewell insiders cited internal misalignment and growing reputational liability concerns, and one by one, doors in Hollywood began to close. That same day, a major U.S. retailer abruptly canceled a high-profile holiday partnership tied to Meghan's new homewares line. A leaked memo obtained by Ad Age revealed the reason in plain terms. Post-title revocation, any product implying royal affiliation poses a litigation risk. In other words, royal branding had become toxic overnight. Even Spotify executives, still nursing wounds from the earlier audio silence scandal, stepped forward with a clarification: no current Sussex projects are under development. The message was brutal but clear. The industry was distancing fast. For a woman once celebrated alongside Beyoncé, Oprah, and Serena Williams as a modern icon of reinvention, the silence that followed was deafening. One Hollywood producer put it bluntly to Variety: the fairy tale's over. What's left isn't royalty, it's reality now. Across the Atlantic, the tension snapped. On January 11, Prince Harry broke his silence with a sudden Instagram live broadcast, tagged Family Truth. Over the course of 15 minutes, he insisted, "Titles don't make character," and accused the palace of being afraid of my freedom to speak. The stream drew over 600,000 live viewers, but within hours it was flagged for privacy violations and taken down. The damage, however, was already done. By sunrise, the palace had struck back with precision. Prince William's private secretary issued a single-line public statement, released through official channels at Kensington Palace. It read, "The Crown does not respond to threats. It protects the people. The institution comes first." Those 12 words hit harder than any press conference. It was calm, unflinching, and final. The monarchy had spoken once more with authority, not anger. The tone made it unmistakable. There would be no negotiation, no reconciliation tour, no compromise. The rift wasn't personal anymore, it was institutional. And as the palace moved in silence, the once glittering Sussex brand was being graded, audited, and quietly erased from the industries that once adored it. The fairy tale curtain had fallen for good. Harry had played his final card, and the world barely blinked. Across the UK, public sentiment shifted completely toward the Wales family. Support for William and Catherine surged to historic levels. More than 120,000 people signed a digital petition to Parliament, calling for future education curricula to include a Catherine Principle, a study on grace under pressure and the preservation of duty. The media captured the mood perfectly. Major British papers ran stirring headlines: Catherine, the steady flame of Windsor; Anne, Edward, Sophie, the quiet royals who now lead loudly; Harry and Meghan, the brand that overreached. Outside Buckingham Palace, supporters gathered in quiet tribute. They placed fresh white roses beneath the statue of the late Queen Elizabeth II, each tied with handwritten notes thanking Catherine and William for keeping the line clean. The narrative had transformed. It was no longer about scandal, it was about succession, stability, and the survival of the monarchy. Then, on the evening of January 12th, King Charles III issued one final historic memorandum addressed to the Privy Council and the Foreign and Commonwealth Office. It read, "All styling protocols and funding related to the Sussex line are hereby retired indefinitely. This is not a punishment, it is a restoration. May future generations understand this as a safeguard, not a slight." And then, in a rare unscripted moment during a small gathering at Windsor, the king added softly but firmly, "We must live in truth, even if others prefer illusion." According to palace insiders, those words weren't improvised, they were intentional. Charles had no plans to revisit the Sussex question. There would be no reinstatement, no second chances, no title reactivation. As one senior aide put it with quiet pride, Charles finally became king, not when he was crowned, but when he drew the line. By January 13, 2026, the monarchy had sealed the door shut. Yet the final symbolic moment didn't come from London, it came from Montecito. Across the Atlantic, something was about to unfold that would echo louder than any official statement, marking the true end of the Sussex era and the rebirth of the modern crown. The final image said it all. Paparazzi in Montecito caught Meghan Markle stepping quietly into a black SUV, a single binder clutched in her hand, her bodyguard following close behind. There were no children, no Harry, just the click of cameras echoing in the still California air. Online, speculation exploded. Was she leaving, meeting lawyers, planning a comeback? Nobody knew for sure, but the contrast unfolding across the ocean couldn't have been sharper. That very same day in Sandringham, Princess Catherine attended a private family ceremony beneath the winter sky. Together with Prince George, Princess Charlotte, and Prince Louis, she stood before a memorial tree planted in honor of Queen Elizabeth II. Snow fell softly over the royal estate as Catherine knelt down, gently placing her bare hand against the bark of the tree. A royal photographer captured the moment that would soon flood timelines and front pages across the world. Her expression wasn't triumphant. It wasn't proud. It was resolute, peaceful, final. That single photograph, Catherine in quiet reflection, her children standing beside her, became the defining image of a new royal age. From Montecito to Westminster, the message was unmistakable. The line of succession stands firm. The royal legacy is secure. The era of ambiguity is over. The crown had spoken not through press conferences or speeches, but through silence, grace, and a single act of remembrance. For those who once viewed titles as tools or royalty as branding, the message could not be clearer. Titles are sacred, not for sale, not for leverage, and never ever for show. The story that began with whispers in a Paris hotel ended beneath the snow in Sandringham, with a quiet queen-in-waiting reminding the world that dignity doesn't demand attention. It commands it. And that's the end of this saga, the royal reset that reshaped modern monarchy. If you were captivated by this story, don't forget to like, subscribe, share, and drop a comment below. Tell us what you think. Has Catherine become the true symbol of the new royal era?